WeatherScope.
You are looking at scenes from Tarrytown, New York, which is just north of New York City. Light snow in the area this morning as a winter storm targets much of the east for messy weather today. In the northeast, that means you'll probably see rain, sleet, freezing rain, or snow today. Good morning, I'm Vivian Brown and welcome to this edition of WeatherScope. We have special coverage of the storm, including a crew on location in Burlington, Vermont. With all the details, here's Bruce Edwards in the Forecast Center. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Vivian, and good morning, everyone. Indeed, we do have a system moving through the northeast, bringing us a little bit of meteorological goulash, meaning some snow, some rain, a little bit of sleet, and a little bit of freezing rain. Unfortunately, that ice falls in the little bit category. Satellite picture cranks up, shows moisture moving on through, and of course temperature is very critical. That low pressure coming here through the Ohio Valley and it's pumping in some moisture coming up from the south, and we've got high pressure off to the north, and that high is bringing in more moisture from the Atlantic. So again, it's where that freezing line is, the freezing temperatures, and that's where we're seeing it right now, and that is what determines what type of precipitation you get. We're talking about some snow through New York State, a little rain-snow mix now around New York City's metro area, reporting some just plain old snow up around LaGuardia Airport, JFK, a little rain-snow mixture, and a little bit of light snow as you work towards Islip, Long Island. But again, temperatures there are in the 30s, 36 degrees. So again, the snow is not going to present any problems. When you get farther up the Hudson Valley, we have snow. And you see the orange right here. Well, that's a little bit of the ice. Some freezing rain reported around Rochester, New York, also around Jamestown. And as you get into south central Pennsylvania, right where it starts to change over from rain to snow and vice versa, we're seeing a little bit of sleet as you get around Altoona and Johnstown and around Harrisburg, a little freezing rain. Same story around Allentown, Pennsylvania. As we mentioned, temperatures are critical. Boston, you can see, is below freezing, but New York City at 36. So the snow is not going to present problems. And once again, you pick up that freezing line from Detroit, and then it swings on down, actually down here into the mountains, and works up into southern New England. And once again, this is where we're talking about 32 degrees or less, and then greater than 32 degrees means we shouldn't have any problems with the icing situation. Here's a look at the regional radar. We're getting a few snowflakes here around Hartford, Connecticut this morning, and then what we're seeing is some snow up into Burlington, Vermont, and we're seeing the precipitation shield from here. Otherwise, the easternmost component not showing much in the way of moisture hitting the ground. Snowfall, once again, generally north of this line in through here, and then you get down towards Harrisburg and then head on north. This is where we're finding mainly the snow, at times a little ice, and then plain old rain south of that, and then times the rain moderate to occasionally heavy. Now, as you head west, southwest winds here coming out of eastern Ohio, bringing rain to the Cleveland metro area. And right now around Aurora, Ohio, seeing some moderate to heavier downpours, but the rain is moving through Columbus right now. Pittsburgh's got a little rain-snow mix at the present time. And once again, you're getting to that snowy situation right in through here with plain old rain elsewhere, heading on up through the region. Once again, the problem areas will be in some of the Intermountain regions, while northern New England should not have to worry about the ice this time. It just looks like plain old snow. And that's what he's seeing right now up in Burlington, Vermont. Jim Cantore reporting live this morning. Good morning, Jim.
Hey, good morning, Bruce. Temperatures are slowly making their way up through the single digits, and you nailed it. I mean, when you talked about the fact that we're talking about a snow, possibly rain event toward the end of this, as opposed to an ice event, that has a lot of folks smiling here. Just basically your Currier and Ives shot here this morning as we look down Church Street here in Burlington, Vermont. We're in downtown Burlington, where I was during the ice storm about 12, 13 days ago. And the roads are snow covered, and of course you got to go a little slower this morning, but schools are in session. I think the snow caught a few folks off guard, Bruce. The forecast was really calling for this stuff to move in between 10 and noon today, and all of a sudden at 6 a.m. we got light snow coming down, and it's been very steady light snow ever since. There's about a quarter of an inch of snow around here, but the good news is no ice. Now, the reports out of Vermont are that basically everyone's got power back from the ice storm, and that's good news. Not the case up in Quebec and Ontario, nor in Maine, where they still have 2,000 folks in Augusta, Maine alone without power there. So that's not good news. But at least here in Vermont, power is restored. And as I mentioned earlier, just hearing the folks on the plane last night as we made our way from Philly into Burlington, hearing them say, oh, isn't it nice to see the lights on down there? So you kind of get a feeling that people are very, very happy to have their power back, and rightly so. It is a cold morning here in northern Vermont. Temperatures right there in the single digits, but they are on the rise. The good news, Bruce, as I mentioned, we have snow instead of ice. Back to you.
All right, thanks very much. Jim Cantore reporting live from Burlington, Vermont. Will keep us updated on the changing weather patterns. Once again, though, in the Northeast, we're happy to report we're talking mainly some snow up in the mountains, some rains down below. As we check out the situation, once again, we could see as much as perhaps 6 inches of snow up into the mountains of Vermont, New Hampshire, which will make for a good skiing weekend, but the rest of the region should have much lighter accumulation. Now to the southeast, here comes the moisture heading up. Area below pressure through here attached to the front, and that's bringing some rain, and at times that rain has been locally heavy, being reported from areas, for example, on the Carolina coast. Some heavy rains now reported around Hilton Head and Myrtle Beach, seeing moderate to heavy showers up through the Carolina coast. It continues to work its way north, while we see a second band of moisture coming up through here, Knoxville and Chattanooga and Birmingham, Atlanta. A little bit of light rain.